Happy Valentine. Niambia Happy Valentine.
Happy Valentine.
Wat mij maar doen. Jij, broertje. Ja. Je hebt gelijk. Geen getuige. Geef mij het mes. Hij moet ergens aan de overkant zijn. Ik neem jou mee. Het is goed. Ziel. Wij hadden een afspraak. Geen moord. Alsjeblieft. Te veel gevaarlijk, te veel drank.
It was after the fight. After the fight at the house. It depends on you whether to cherish this chance or not.
You are where you should be. You're here for a reason. Tagazi alisema
Complete 180-degree loop inside the mountain. Emerging from the tunnel, the train then descends along the valley walls before the track loops again, crossing the 200-meter curve of the Santa Barbara Bridge and returning to its original course at a lower altitude. This triumph of engineering was completed in 1961, finally linking the inland city of Chihuahua with the Pacific coast. And today, a plaque stands at the Themeris Loop to commemorate this historic achievement. As the train continues down towards the coastal state of Sinaloa, it faces a new and growing environmental threat. The Chepe route might be a marvel of railway engineering, but a changing world means it constantly faces new challenges. As the train heads towards the plains of Sinaloa, it becomes vulnerable to a recent increase in extreme weather. In 2018, floods caused by record-breaking rainfall forced the Chepe line to close for several weeks. 3 years later, it happened again. With baking sun and torrential downpours damaging the tracks, Division Engineer Manuel Perez and his team are doing what they can to safeguard for the future.
Por cierto, los jardines del mundo, la lluvia, el agua es uno de nuestros peores enemigos, ¿verdad? Déjame mostrarte la condición del durmiente, de manera que acaban de sacar de la vía principal.
Lightweight, cheap, and easy to manufacture, wooden sleepers have been standard since the early days of the railway and can last for 50 years. But extreme weather has damaged them.
Este durmiente de madera no nos sostiene la fijación. Una fijación a base de clavo. Este durmiente ya no presta seguridad en cuanto a la resistencia transversal. Podemos correr el riesgo de perder el escantillón. El escantillón es la separación estándar de nuestros rieles.
Our Earth, Ritus and Vetus had a run-in with the same bear.
Behind bars, he will never be able to charm, manipulate, and murder another.
Partner,
For these murders, there's no such thing as dead and buried.
hiding a body in a cemetery is ingenious.
Brand new How Not to Get Rid of a Body. Wednesday on ID.
Sean Diddy Kong is facing a slew of allegations. Creating the seed speeds up the natural process of plant evolution, allowing scientists to find thousands of improved.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, there are 6 amazing Muay Thai bouts still to come.
First half, though, ultimately, that is being dictated by the 2 goals scored by Betis. Celta having a much better spell here. In Brazil.
See to mine. Jack Hughes with 24 on the season.
What are you gonna get from United Night Out?
Snapdragon processor packs a digital punch that fuels your passions and makes your experiences come to life. For experiences that move you.
That's how strong he is. Judith.
But you know what they did vote for? In England, they voted for Brexit, and agree or disagree, they voted for it. And more all over Europe, they're voting for political leaders who promise to put an end to out-of-control migration.
JD Vance there in Munich. Well, we were discussing with Jeremy Bowen the possible outlines of a future peace deal, or at least peace talks over the future of Ukraine. And I've been discussing that too with Colonel Philip Ingram, who's a former senior British military intelligence officer. I asked him what sort of peace deal could look like in the future.
Well, we're a long way off a peace agreement. President Trump and his representatives talked about Ukraine, America, and Russia getting together at the Munich Security Conference. Russia does not even have a delegation at the Security Conference. So we're hearing a lot of sound bites coming out designed to do 3 things. One, I think, get Vladimir Putin to the negotiating table, give him a dangle carrot in front of him to suggest that he could say something as a win, shock NATO into spending more money, and to bring a degree of realism into people's minds that there's going to have to be compromises potentially on both sides. We're a long way off being able to work out what a final peace deal would look like, and a long way off, I think, a ceasefire.
President Trump is a businessman. He should know that to get a good outcome, you need some leverage. Leverage here would be to provide the Ukrainians with the strongest possible hand in those negotiations, delivering all the weapons the Ukrainians need, offering Ukraine membership of NATO. That should, in conclusion, everything should be on the table. Nothing should be excluded in advance.
You were the NATO Secretary General. I interviewed you many times during the war in Afghanistan. And of course, although it was President Biden that executed the withdrawal, the negotiations were done by President Trump. Do you see any echoes of those negotiations when, again, many people say that the way it was negotiated by the Americans pulled the rug under the Ghani administration?
Absolutely. I see many similarities. And I would say to Trump, don't let Ukraine become your Afghanistan. Don't let Putin defeat you. Seek peace, but it should be a fair and lasting peace. And to that end, the Ukrainians need security guarantees.
When you were at the top table of international leaders, there were lots and lots of challenges. but there was a way business was done. When you had difficulties, you tended to talk about them, at least at first, behind closed doors. How do you see the way this is being done now, the transactional, aggressive way it's being done?
Well, it's a new style, no doubt. And I think in Europe we have to adapt to that new style. And we should conclude that if the US does not execute its role as the world's policeman, then we have to be able to protect ourselves. We have to invest much more in our own security.
You say a new style, but let me take it to your own country, Denmark. President Trump has said he wants Greenland. Greenland is an autonomous region of Denmark. He says, if necessary, he'll use, or he's not ruling out, using military force. How's that gone down in your country?
We consider it surreal. I mean, Greenland does not constitute any threat towards American security. The Americans are already present at Greenland. They have a base in Greenland. We have a security agreement between the US and Denmark that allows the United States to expand their military presence if there's a wish. So we would actually welcome a stronger US presence in Greenland. So if that's what President Trump wishes, then he could get it without threatening a close and reliable ally like Denmark.
This year marks the 80th anniversary of the end of the Second World War, of the signing of the UN Charter and all the things that followed, including NATO. Are you worried that we're entering a new era and that international law norms, the international rules, are collapsing?
Yes, actually I think we are approaching a new world order. New world order with three centers of sphere interest. The US will dominate South America, North America, and try Greenland as well. Russia will dominate the Eurasian region, that is Central Asia and Europe, and China, the Southeast Asia. In that world order, it will be the will of the strongest that will govern the world. It will not be rule of law, but it will be the rule of the ruthless. I think in Europe we should fight against that world order by investing much more in our own defense.
Thank you very much, Anders Fogh Rasmussen, the former Prime Minister of Denmark and also former Secretary General of NATO, for joining us here at the Munich Security Conference, where the discussions continue a range of subjects. Obviously, Ukraine and European-American relations very, very high up on the agenda, Barbara.
All right, that's Al Jazeera's diplomatic editor, James Bays, live for us from Munich. Thank you so much. Still ahead on Al Jazeera. Cases of sexual violence are on the rise in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo as fighting escalates. And cracking under record prices, we find out why eggs are so expensive in the United States.
Hello, there's lots of settled weather to be found across South Asia, as expected with the season. Barely a cloud in the sky, just a few showers are coming into southern parts of Sri Lanka, but for much of India it is a dry picture. A few showers potentially across the northeast, Nepal and Bhutan seeing that wetter weather extending across into northern parts of Pakistan. But it does dry up largely as we go into Sunday. We'll see temperatures start to pick up across the north of India, New Delhi, touching 30 degrees Celsius, 5 degrees above the average at the start of the new week. And there's been lots of warmth across the north of China, with temperatures rising up in Beijing. They'll be coming down over the next few days. Shanghai, however, after seeing that rain, will pick up towards the mid-teens with wetter weather once again running its way through Japan. We could see some snow showers across the northeast of China as well. It's likely settled with sunshine in Seoul, 8 degrees Celsius here. Now, skies have dried briefly in Sapporo, but we are expecting some more snow to fall in the new week. It'll get colder by Tuesday.
Connecting communities. What would you like to see happen for a new Syria to emerge?
There's no way we could live in a country again where disappearance or displacement is part of our present.
Opening up the conversation.
Representation matters. We haven't had the best representation of Africans, so for us it's about showing that positive representation for our kids.
With fresh perspectives from lesser-heard voices, the stream explores the key issues of our times on Al Jazeera.
I'm Mohammed Anjoum. You're watching Al Jazeera. A reminder of our top stories this hour. Israel is set to free 369 Palestinian prisoners on Saturday in the largest release under the ceasefire deal. Most of them were detained in Gaza during the war. At least 25 people serving life sentences will be deported through Egypt. Hamas and the Palestinian Islamic Jihad have named the 3 Israeli captives held in Gaza who will be released on Saturday as part of the deal. They are Alexander Trufanov, Sagi Dekel-Chen, and Yair. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says Europe will have to unite behind Ukraine so it can protect itself. Speaking at the Munich Security Conference, Zelensky says decisions about Ukraine's future can't be taken lightly. The U.S.-led committee monitoring the ceasefire between Hezbollah and Israel confirmed that Israeli troops will be pulling out of population centers in southern Lebanon by February the 18th, deadline set by the agreement. But soldiers will remain stationed in strategic positions just inside Lebanon. The Lebanese government has rejected the decision. Zaina Khuda reports from Beirut.
The Lebanese army has been moving into villages along the southern border as Israeli troops pull out. It's part of the ceasefire deal that ended the war between Hezbollah and Israel in November with the help of UN peacekeeping troops. Lebanon is expected to keep Hezbollah away from Israel's border. Israel claims that still hasn't happened, and it is why it wants to hold on to 5 strategic locations just inside Lebanon after February 18, the deadline for its troops to withdraw.
Israel does not trust entirely the new political leadership that has come to power in Lebanon and wants to have the last word in the implementation of the terms of the ceasefire. And therefore, it keeps presence on that territory in order to surveil.
Israel has already missed an initial January deadline to withdraw. This doesn't help Lebanon's new leadership, which is trying to extend the state's authority. Under the ceasefire deal, it is also required to disarm Hezbollah, which was the most powerful actor in the country.
The smartest thing for the Israelis to do right now would be to end definitively the issue of occupied territories. Get out of Lebanon as per the international agreement, get out of the Sheva farms in northern Rajah, and end this issue, and allow the Lebanese state to fully try to control and to then also disarm Hezbollah.
An envoy from the Trump administration was in Beirut last week. Morgan Ortegas didn't use the word withdrawal, but redeployment, when she said the U.S. was committed to the February 18 deadline.
A ceasefire has been in place since late November, but Israeli strikes against what the army calls Hezbollah's military assets continue, and they are not expected to stop even after Israeli troops leave Lebanon. Israel has made that clear. It believes the truce agreement gives it the right to act against what it considers immediate threats posed by Hezbollah.
Hezbollah's fighting capacity has been affected by the war, but it continues to try to project strength through its supporters. Along some stretches of the border, they're seen driving with the group's flags in a message of defiance. But there is a new political order in Lebanon, and the ceasefire deal is not in Hezbollah's favor. Zaina Khuda, Al Jazeera, Beirut.
UNICEF is accusing armed men, likely on both sides of the conflict, of raping young children. At least 170 boys and girls received medical treatment in eastern DRC in just 1 week. That includes boys who were raped as retaliation for refusing to join an armed group or to fight. It's part of a surge in human rights violations. Al Jazeera spoke to the capital of North Kivu province, who say they were sexually assaulted during fighting between M23 rebels and government forces 2 weeks ago. Catherine Sawyer reports.
This woman says she was raped in her home in Goma. We'll call her Sabina. She was also shot in the leg during the fighting between DRC soldiers and Rwandan-backed M23 rebels. The group now controls the city, which is the provincial capital and much of North Kivu.
They came to my house. They assaulted women in the neighborhood. They didn't discriminate. It didn't matter if it was a child or not. Rapes just happened.
This hospital is treating dozens of injured people, including women who were sexually assaulted. Some say they don't know who attacked them.
Everybody cannot declare it clearly. They can hide, but it seems rape was too much. But those 4 was themselves, they report to the hospital to get treatment.
Others also narrated their ordeal. The people who did this to me wore civilian clothes. They had no weapons. It was 3 men and it was dark.
I went out to look for food during that time. People, I don't know who, attacked me. I was crying out, but it didn't make a difference.
The UN says nearly 3,000 people were killed in the battle for Goma. M23 has denied its fighters committed atrocities. Some rape survivors go to non-governmental organizations in search of help.
Those who were assaulted come to our office. We counsel them. We take them to hospital. But the hospitals where they would go to get the free medicines are not providing that right now. And those women don't have money.
Rape used as a weapon of war is not new in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Over decades of conflict, thousands of women and girls have been sexually violated by armed groups. Sabina says she knows she's unlikely to get justice for what happened, but right now, all she just wants to do is heal her body and her mind. Catherine Soy, Al Jazeera.
More than 24 Democratic members of Congress on Thursday sent U.S. President Donald Trump a letter urging him to do something about the rising prices of eggs. During his run for the White House, Trump campaigned on the promise of bringing down the price of groceries. Rob Reynolds reports from Los Angeles.
The price of eggs has cracked all-time records of 50% in a year and rising faster than a savory souffle.
Baby,
Store owners
jadi apanya, baby? Apanya tu